Hey friends, my name's Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday. Oh God. Whew. Welcome to Sunday, how to not burn your house down. That was a gig that I flew last night, and I still have the batteries needing to be dealt with. Some of them are charged, some of them are not charged. I've talked about this from time to time, but I've never necessarily dedicated a stream that's a little bit easier to search for to it. And now's as good a time as any. Don't burn your house down, yo. There are some ways to not burn your house down. And I'm going to go over what has worked for me. Which is essentially like a lazy approach. We're gonna dive straight into this, and then I'm gonna say hi to everybody in chat and get caught up. But we're gonna go straight into a whole bunch of battery tips, and then throughout the course of the stream, I'll probably ramble on about it. If you guys have any questions related to batteries, now's the live stream. But I want to hit a bunch of stuff right now, so that people don't have to try to find the main content here, because it's important, man. Battery management and safety is super, super, super important. We've had a number of people in FPV that have had house fires, and that's unimaginable. People can die, pets can die. That's insane. So let's talk about it. The first thing I'm going to do. So I have these batteries that are ready to go, that are ready to get dealt with. And so we're going to dive straight into that. When I leave the house, I already have a bunch of these batteries out. I use these real ACC bags that have these cool little dividers in them. In theory, if one battery goes off, the divider will keep the flames off the battery right next to it. I have tested these dividers. They are like a plastic. If you sit with an open flame on this divider long enough, it will start to melt. But in theory, it's better than nothing, right? These little dividers are in theory better than nothing. This bag used to be available on Banggood, but you can probably find it just about anywhere. If anybody can find this, let me know. It's the only one I've ever seen with the dividers in it. I bought 2 of them, and I've had them forever. This is small. The batteries fit really nice in here. This will do 8 6S 1050s or a whole bunch of 4S batteries. I have 10 4S batteries that I have in here. These dividers that are farther apart, I will stack 2 batteries next to each other, which kind of defeats the purpose. But, you know, we're still playing the odds. If this battery in here goes off, or this one, you know, right? The dividers are in theory better than nothing. This is a Kevlar bag. Flight tests showed how well these Kevlar bags work. They're not, like, it could be better, but they're cheap and they're readily available and they're all over the place and they work staggeringly well. The best way to do it is with like a bat box or an ammo crate or something like that. But they're huge and heavy, and this is cheap and easy, and you get a couple of them, and yeah, away you go. So when I come home, I've got batteries that are kind of looking like this. I'm gonna sneeze. Man, it's dusty over where these batteries are. Hold on. No. Let's stay here. When I come home, there's batteries that look like this. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show you better in a second. These are all discharged. These I all pulled out of the front. And the first thing that I look for is loose balance leads versus balance leads that are in these very cool little TPU things that Brain 3D sells. Let me give you a little bit of a close-up here. So it is a super simple little balance lead holder. They make them for 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S, and 6S. It clamps on to the main battery leads, and it gives you somewhere to stuff the balance lead, and they're color-coded, which is nice. So like if I have two identical batteries here, or 3 or 4 or 5 identical batteries, I put a different color one on each battery. So that if one of these batteries is not performing well, I can leave a note in my phone. It's the red TPU Beta FPV 4S850, right? Simple little tip there. Yes, you can 3D print those yourself. Yes, you can just use a rubber band to hold down the battery lead. These are not just about holding down the battery lead for me. These serve like 3 purposes, right? They make identical batteries slightly different. They protect the balance lead, and they also tell me if the battery is charged or discharged. This is a discharged battery that has come out of my bag. This is a charged battery that has come out of my bag. And we run these batteries down to different voltages. And so one of the things that I find that's really, really cool about these new Joshua Bardwell boards, all of the Joshua Bardwell boards, and newer balance boards, is a lot of them will have these little poly fuses on them. This little row of fuses here, these are called poly fuses. Poly fuses are there to only let a certain amount of current flow between the balance leads. This is the old Joshua Bardwell board. Here are the poly fuses here. Let me actually give you guys a close-up of them so that you can look on your board to see if you have them. The new Bardwell board has these smaller poly fuses here. Come on. There's so much contrast for you to focus on. There you go. And these are actually coated in thermal paint, thermally reactive paint. So if we put enough heat on there, do it with the lighter. If we put enough heat onto those, they will change color. See it? See it going a little bit red? No, you don't, because Logitech is useless. All right. See that? That's how you know if they're getting hot. If you plug a fully charged battery in here and a storage voltage battery here, those poly fuses will get hot. You got to be careful of that. You don't want to do that. That's kind of what they're there for, but they're not invincible. And so you don't want to do that. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, shit. The older school Bardwell boards have these bigger poly fuses. And again, they're coated in that same material. But that's what poly fuses look like. They're these random squares or rectangles on a board. They could be inside the board. These balance boards have, like, you know, layers and whatnot. If you have a board that is not showing poly fuses on the top, there could still be some on the inside. It's hard to know that for sure. Look up the specs of the board and see if it specifically says that board has poly fuses. So what the poly fuses do is they clamp down and they only let 1 amp pass. So again, if I hook up a fully charged battery here and a not fully charged battery here, it will send 1 amp from the fully charged battery to the less charged battery. You don't want to do that on purpose, though. You want to do it with fully and half or dead batteries. You want to put batteries onto the poly fuses that are close to one another. On a given flight session, I'll usually run a battery down, run 1 or 2 batteries a little bit too low. And so what I do when I come home is take all of the batteries out. You might as well do this with all of them, but technically you only need to take out the batteries that are like this if you're going to follow this procedure, because this is a discharged battery. This is a fully charged battery because of, you know, the method in place. When a battery comes off the charger and it's fully charged, it's like this. It goes into the bag. You go to where you're going to fly. You take the battery like this out of the bag. You plug this in to the little protector to protect it while you fly it. And then it goes onto the quad. And then you fly it. You take it off the quad like this. You put it back into the bag. Right? Order of operation. Simple, simple, simple. I don't do this when they come off the charger. I wait until I get to where I'm going. I don't know why, but that's just the way that I do. That is my order of operation. If you're gonna have a different order of operation, that's fine. You set it and you do it every single time, right? That's one of the keys to this. You do it the same way every single time forever. And so there you go. Hold on, I got the stream is doubled up here. So this comes out of the bag like this. I know that this is discharged, okay? That's why you don't do this, because if you do this off the charger, then you don't know if the batteries are charged or not charged, right? This, on my way to the field, is charged. Right, if this is charged, then it's, yeah, there you go. So you leave it out. So when you get home, they're in there. So you pop these balance leads out of the little protector, and then you hit them with a cell checker. Make sure that you have a cell checker. This is a super important part of the process to make sure that you're not putting fully charged batteries with discharged batteries onto your balance lead, onto your balance board, rather. So you take your little checker, you check the voltage. This battery is 16.7 total, individual cell 4.17. This is a fully charged battery, which needs to be discharged. Vifly, Vifly, sells these excellent little dischargers. It's just a little tiny heat sink and a little board on the back. It senses the voltage to know if it's 2S, 3S, 4S, 5S, 6S. You plug it in. It blinks to let you know what cell voltage it thinks the battery is. Green is 4S, green and blue is 6S. It does a really good job at that, though. It comes a little instruction manual that says, like, hey, the LED will show such and such a color for each different battery voltage. I've used these things for a long time. They nail it every single time. And so that is now good to go. This can just hang out somewhere. Put it somewhere safe. In the cover image of the live stream, this is my battery charging sort of area. This is the fireplace. So this is completely fireproof. Here's my ammo box, which I have my charger power supply in. You can kind of see down in the right corner here, the little fan for the giant power supply that feeds the this big old ISDT here. If I'm bringing my charger somewhere, I can put batteries and balance boards and everything in this. So this serves as like a battery box too, if I ever need it to. If you're going to use an ammo crate as a battery box, make sure that you take the seal out of the top. You do not want a bomb. And these things are really tough. So if you have a battery that goes off in there with that seal, it's going to be ultra pressurized. So take the seal out that goes around the lid. It'll still latch. It'll still stay closed. Here's another one of these little simple Lipo safe bags. I have a bunch of them lined up in the front here. Buy one of these little Lipo safe bags every single order that you do, and then you'll have a bunch of them in all different sizes. Inevitably, there'll be a bunch of batteries that fit perfectly in one, and or you put one by your front door, one by your back door, one in your car, one in the basement. You have these all over the place so that this one, for example, this one lives here all the time, and then random batteries just go in here. Random batteries that like don't have a spot at the current moment. Maybe they're half charged, whatever. Just have these little LipoSafe Kevlar bags everywhere, and then there's no excuse to ever put a battery on the ground. You've always got batteries, and this one I leave opened like this because it'll direct the flame straight up, right? Like if I put this on the carpet, I'm still pretty safe because it's going to direct any fire straight up in the air rather than down into the carpet. This is the new school Joshua Bardwell board, and you'll notice that it looks like an octopus. This is what I'm holding in my hand now. These little things are amazing from like a kind of lazy kind of I don't know. These are available on Amazon. They're cool looking. They've got the little rainbow wires, which is fun. But the point of these is they've got a 6S, 5S, 4S, 3S, and 2S balance plug. On the Bardwell board, on any balance board, you can plug a 2S battery in here. You just line the lead up with the left side, I think it is. You can put a 3S, you can put a 4S, you can put a 5S, or you can put the full-size 6S in. The number of times, though, that you can screw that up, and it's very easy to screw that up. It's very easy to put it on the wrong side or have it one over, and that can cause problems. If you plug a bunch of batteries in, and then you only plug one battery in that's off a little bit, it's going to send voltage to some of the cells. It's going to either send or pull voltage from some of the cells, but not all of the cells. And that's bad. We want to make sure that each individual cell stays balanced forever. And so these silly little things from Amazon make that so simple because it's obvious as hell that the big one is a 6S. So when you plug a 6S battery in, you plug it in here. It's obvious that this is a 5S. It's obvious that this is a 4S. It's obvious that this is a 3S. It's obvious that this is a 2S. If you're plugging a balance lead in that doesn't fit, you're plugging it into the wrong spot. Don't do that. It is so much easier. Here's one of them. It is so much easier to take this thing when you're tired, when you're drunk, as someone said in the chat. And look, this is a 4S battery. 4 is in the middle. 2, 4, 6. Duh. 4. Plug it into the middle. Done. It fits the plug correctly. You're not having to like shift it over a little bit or do any of that nonsense. So these things are cheap on Amazon. They're cool looking. They also prevent this weird problem with these balance boards, which is that a lot of batteries have little short-ass balance leads. And to try to plug the balance lead in and then have the battery lead, sometimes it's like, and like the battery is fucking moving all over, and it's like, you know, the battery leads are all different lengths and different thicknesses, and then you've got like all these batteries kind of jankily sitting on top of each other. With these things, you have this extra long lead, and so you plug the balance lead in, and then when you plug the actual battery in, it's just a much better situation. The batteries sit out here a lot nicer. Because you've got that extra balance lead length, this thing can move around, and it basically makes the battery, the shortest length is the main lead, which is the strongest. I promise you, it's so nice having this little bit of extra length on the balance leads. This is not what I do when I get home, though. I do not plug in the main lead. I only plug in the balance lead. And this is a fully charged battery, so this one actually does not get... Well, let's see. I might have run this one down. I don't think I did. This is another one of the identical beta FPV batteries. Hook up a thing, 16.7, 4.15. This is a fully charged battery, so this is going to get the other discharger. These little Vifly things, also you can get them in XT60 or XT30. And I recommend you get a couple of each. I have 2 of each. So nice to have. Plug it in. It flashes green to let me know it's a 4S. And I put it down, and I don't think about it. It's going to nice and slowly discharge these batteries for the next, like, 6 or 8 hours. You could technically plug one of those things into the output of your balance board. You could plug one of those Vifly dischargers in here, and then hook a whole bunch of batteries up here. If I was going to go through that trouble, I would just leave this plugged into my charger and put my charger into discharge mode. Your charger has a much bigger heat sink in it. It'll discharge a lot faster. These little things will take a long time to discharge. These are also great to have like in your flight bag. They're just excellent little devices. So I just pulled 2 batteries out that were fully charged. We're going to keep going. Keep checking voltages. This battery here, I'm pretty sure I ran down. Nope, 16.7, 4.15. So this is another battery that needs discharging. I'm going to put that next to those. I could take one of these XT30 ones and put an XT30 to XT60 adapter on it and charge that and discharge that battery, but whatever, it's fine. It can wait. Let's find a battery that I actually ran down. What I typically do is discharge the more expensive, the better batteries first, basically. This is another fully charged battery. Here's one with the battery lead in there. This is probably a discharged battery. This is an important step. Don't plug fully charged batteries into those polyfuses. It wears the polyfuses out. 3.76 per cell. Awesome. I know this battery is discharged. Man, yeah, there is all kinds of dust on this battery charging stuff. I'm now going to plug it into the balance board. Usually this balance board is plugged into the charger. I don't turn the charger on. I only plug the balance lead in to send the energy through the polyfuses. Next battery, pull the leads out. I can tell you that the rest of these batteries are discharged, but every single time we check the voltage because it doesn't take very long and it prevents mistakes. 15 volts, 3.74. Awesome. So this battery is a little bit lower. That one was 3.78. This is 3.74. Connecting these two together, 0.1 amp is going to flow from one to the other. They're close enough where it's not going to heat the polyfuses up. This battery that got discharged a little bit lower is going to get pulled up a little bit. That's what we want here. Next battery. Put the checker on. If you really want to get fast with it, you plug the checker on in, and then you grab these. 3.78. Awesome. Checker off. Plug it in. You do this every single time. That's important. It's important to have an order of operations and to do it every single time. 14.9 total, 3.72. So this battery is really going to get helped by this. Plug it in. Easy to plug it in because of the little thingies that I just showed you, the little rainbow jabs. 3.77 per cell. These are all pretty damn close. Out. Plug it in. Oh. One of the wires just popped out of the balance lead. Okay. Here's your time to check for stuff like that. If a balance lead wire ever pops out, you can usually fix it. It's usually the little latch. Get your magnification and look at it really closely. There's a little tiny latch that eventually can get pushed down. Put your little fucking 5X loop in. Get your little tweezers and lift that latch back up. Oh yeah, that got pushed. How the hell did that happen? That latch got pushed all the way down. Let's just fix that up. Get up there. Everybody know what I mean by latches? If you've never looked really closely at a balance lead, look really closely at a balance lead. You'll see what I mean. There's a little piece of metal that sticks up that functions as like a latch to hold it inside of the plastic balance lead. And they can get pushed down, especially if you've ever had to swap the balance lead out. Like if you've broken the plastic balance lead, the plastic JST thing, this can happen. Pretty uncommon, but every once in a while. Jesus, that's this is a little dangerous when these pop out. This is a little bit scary because you got some juice in that there battery. And this is really fighting me. This battery might need to get retired. I don't play around too much with these batteries. If they're if they're really being insistent upon being jerks and dying, they don't cost enough to warrant like having a janky battery. And having a balance lead like this pop out while it's on the rig with conductive carbon fiber all over the place, yeah, that can cause some problems. This is I'll take a look at this later, but this battery might be destined for the shit heap. I can't get that piece of metal to peek back up through the little hole. But I will dive into that later. I can't really show it to you because it's just too damn small. And there we go. Battery bag is empty. These batteries are all hooked up to the balance board, equalizing. I'll let them sit for like an hour maybe, and then they'll all be at the same voltage. Also, like, this is a way that you can kind of bring a battery back to life if you have a battery where one cell drops significantly lower than the rest. You can plug in a couple of batteries that are normal, and then that one battery with the one cell that's dropped. What you should do is get rid of that battery. Once one cell drops to too low of a voltage, it's not really worth it becomes a little bit dangerous too. And so you should get rid of that battery, but if you're a cheap bastard like me, I'll put like an X on that battery, and I'll do this. I'll plug it into a balance board with a bunch of other batteries that are fine, and you can like kind of jumpstart that cell back to life. The battery is never the same again, so it's like it's a battery that will never fly as good. But yeah, if you're cheap, you can jumpstart a battery back to life. One of the things that you want to remember about these balance boards is they also have these main fuses here. So there's the little poly fuses that are not removable, and then they've got these main fuses. If one of these main the reason that these main fuses blow is that you plug a battery in backwards to the XT60 or to the XT30. So if you ever do that, if you ever plug a battery in backwards and you get that spark, you blew the fuse. Don't like, oh, it's probably fine. No, you blew the fuse. Pull that fuse immediately and hold it up to the light, and you'll see that it's probably blown. To be safe, just replace it, because you at least hurt the fuse. When these fuses let go, that main lead is no longer connected. And that battery is only going to be connected by the balance lead. And so if you're sitting there charging, if you're charging batteries with a blown main fuse, it's going to make all kinds of weird shit happen. And it's going to imbalance the rest of the batteries. So it is something you have to be careful about. You should pull these fuses every once in a while and just hold them up to the light to make sure that none of them are blown. But yeah, if you ever plug a battery in backwards and you get any kind of a noise or a spark, replace that fuse right away. Pull the fuse, make sure it's not blown, replace it right away. Cool? That matters. That bit me on a live flying gig, a live broadcast gig, actually. The batteries were coming off the balance board really weird. And that's what it was. One of the main fuses was blown, and so it was pushing all of the juice through the balance lead, which was getting the poly fuses hot. And it was just, it was, the charger was like beeping and saying like, you know, weird cell voltage warnings and shit like that, because it was imbalancing the cells. It was super weird. Luckily I figured it out. Somebody asked what my travel balance board is. It's this one here that I believe Bob Noxious sent to me. This is an HGLRC. I don't love that it's HGLRC, but it's been fine. Thor, HGLRC Thor, Thor. It's nice and lightweight. It's nice and compact. It's got both XT30 and XT60. It's only got 4 ports, which is fine, because when I'm on the go, I don't need to have 6 or 8. It's got a bunch of little lights here for the balance leads. I don't bring these little guys. I try to pack as light as I possibly can. These balance leads have little red LEDs there, so that if you plug it in, if you shift the plug by accident and plug it in the wrong spot, it's very obvious because of these little lights. There's one light for each individual balance lead pin. So you can very clearly see that you've plugged it in. Why not plug a battery in and show you? You can very clearly see where you've plugged the battery in. Oh, I guess it doesn't do that until you have it plugged into your charger. But yeah, it also has a discharger in the bottom, which is kind of cool. I've never used it, but it's kind of cool. It's XT60 or XT30 based. And I'm assuming it works just like the Vifly. Yep. So, and it actually gives you the full battery voltage here too. Looks like you have to hit a button though to tell it what the battery voltage is, because it's flashing 2S right now, and it's obviously not a 2S battery. I don't know how to get that to change, but whatever. I've never used this little discharger on the bottom of this thing. It's mainly just as a balance board. This is the smallest balance board I've really seen. Smallest and lightest. Lightweight is one of the big things. So yeah, HGLRC Thor. I've used this a bunch, and it works pretty well. Nice and small. That's the whole process. These batteries are now discharged. Let them sit for about an hour. Take them out of here. Put them into another one of these Lipo storage bags. This particular one here with the weird dividers in it, the weirdly spaced dividers in it. This is for these batteries. They fit like perfectly in here, like two 4S1050s here, two 4S1050s here. Yeah, I have a bit of a system. Once these batteries are at storage voltage or discharged, they won't really shoot fire if they fail. When batteries are dangerous or when they're fully charged, that's when they shoot fireballs. That's when they burn people's houses down. When they're at storage voltage or below, if they fail, they will put up a bunch of smoke, but they will not usually put out fire. The smoke is bad and it's noxious, but it's not going to burn your house down. It's just going to suffocate you to death. It's probably not going to suffocate you to death because we don't run batteries that are big enough to put off enough smoke. If a battery fails hard enough at storage voltage, can it shoot a little bit of fire? Sure. But like the videos that you've seen on the internet of LiPos shooting 10 feet of flame, those are LiPos that are severely overcharged. Flight Test did a video when the Bat Safe came out. And one of the things during that testing that they were all blown away by, and Joshua was blown away by this same thing when he tested batteries to destruction. They were both blown away by how hard you had to discharge a battery to get it to explode and shoot fireballs. Do they sometimes just do it on our quads? Yeah, sure. But like it doesn't happen as often as you'd think. And again, to properly burn your house down, it has to be a fully charged battery. So like when your batteries are fully charged, you need to be careful. This is not me trying to like make you relax. This is just like, you know, get them down to storage voltage immediately, as soon as you possibly can. That will drastically drop the risk of you having an actual fire. That is the point of this here. So yeah, they sit on this for a while. They go back into this LiPo-safe bag, and then this goes basically onto the shelf. I don't keep all of these LiPo-safe bags on the fireplace. I put them in one of the cubes here because they're discharged. They're discharged or storage voltage, and they're probably not going to burn the house down. They're in these things, which if they do go off a little bit, this will contain it, and then it should be totally fine. If you want to be totally safe, yes, put these outside, put these with concrete around them. But yeah, I have stabbed quite a few batteries that have been discharged or at storage voltage, and not a single one of them put out any flame at all. And usually they just put out like a little bit of smoke. It's a drastic difference between a fully charged battery that gets stabbed and one that is at storage voltage or below. So I'm actually just going to leave this here because I want to let these batteries equalize a little bit more. And I'm going to show you some more specific things. Again, this guy on Amazon, super, super, super handy and prevents you from plugging the wrong balance lead in. What would these be called? Balance lead extension JST. There they are. There you go. Balance charger extend expansion board. Here comes a link. Stop it. Here comes a link in Chad. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna be a good person, and I'm gonna add this to the description. How the hell do I add this to the description? There we go. Top of the description is a link to the little rainbow guy. Look at that. I don't know where. I'm sure you can get these from like AliExpress too. JST XH adapter, it says on it. That's probably the best thing to search for. Yeah, really, really, really nice to have. It just makes your life so much easier. And it does legitimately make it safer because you will not accidentally plug the wrong balance lead in, which can cause problems. Well, no, I mean, let's go all the way. Vifly discharger. There you go. Look at that. 2 pieces, XT30. 1 XT60. Where's a double? Well, whatever. We be flying micros. Here we go. Link in chat. And now in the description as well. Just going to dump these in here raw and I'll fix them later. I'm going to dump these in here raw and then I'll forget to fix them later. Those 2 things are super, super, super handy to have. I do have some other handy stuff. Vifly also makes a Lipo killer. Lipo killer. Bet you it's on here. Lipo killer. You can get these from... These Vifly things you can get from a real place. Here it is. Lipo killer 0-volt battery discharger. XT60 and XT30. And then it's just got these tiny little resistors, I assume that they are, on it. And it will slowly drag your battery all the way down to 0 volts. It's red. Red as in kill. And it doesn't have that heat sink on it. So it looks totally different than the Vifly dischargers. So there's no reason to get confused with which is which. Plus it says Lipo killer on it. Why is this not working? Amazon, why are you such shat? Link in chat. There's lots of ways to kill a Lipo. This little guy has both XT60 and XT30, and it's just simple and small. And get a couple of them, put them in your, put them wherever. Be careful though, because they will pull a battery all the way down to 0 volts. At that point, you can do whatever you want with the battery. What you should do is take it to like Best Buy or another place that has those bins up in the front for safe Lipo, whatever-ing. There's no, once you've discharged it down with this, there's really no reason to stab it anymore. Stabbing batteries, that's more of a, you're out flying somewhere and you don't want to put the sketchy battery in your car and have it potentially catch your car on fire. So you can stab it when you're out, and put it in like their dumpster or stop at a place on your way home. But yeah, realistically, we don't need to be stabbing batteries. Discharge them down to 0 volts and then move on with your life. I just have a couple little prop bags with some extra stuff. Again, bunch of these little 3D printed balance lead holders. It's always nice to have a bunch of extras. There's a 6S. Actually, that's a 5S one. These are available at Brain 3D. I'm sure that there are files for these on Thingiverse, and you can print your own. Extra fuse. Always keep some extra fuses. These are just automotive fuses. And when you hold these, I guess I should show you. To know if one of these fuses is bad, all you got to do is hold it up to the light. This fuse is not bad. If this fuse were bad, that little up to down parabola looking wave thing in the middle would be broken. It's very obvious when these fuses let go. And so yeah, you just hold them up to the light. This is a working fuse. Cool. What else? XT30 to XT60 adapters, super nice to have. Very easy to make, but the ones that you buy are just nice and clean and whatever, super cheap. XT30 and XT60 plugs are not super cheap. And so like if you factor in the price of the plugs, buying them like this, pre-done, pre-shrink wrapped all nice, kind of does make sense. Little Vifly XT30 jib jabs. I don't have any XT30 batteries that need discharging right now, and the Lipo killer. I have another little bag of stuff. It's also nice to have slightly longer XT30 to XT60 adapters. Not super important, but again, just nice to have. Have a couple of Lipo checkers so that you can put these things everywhere. No excuses to not check the voltage of the batteries before you plug them onto the balance board. Cool? That's it. That's what I got in here. Oh, another really nice thing to have that you probably already have, but and I made this one. This is a barrel plug to XT60, so that you can plug this directly into your big boy charger. It has nothing to do with battery safety, but this is something nice to have. And yeah, this is actually a Fat Shark lead here that I just soldered up to an XT30. This is nice. This is how I charge all the barrel goggle batteries. And then these things. These things are super nice to have. Get some extras. That is the majority of what I wanted to talk about. I'm sure you guys have some great questions in chat. Just to prove that I'm not lying, so I've got this Relay CC bag, which is my favorite because of the dividers, and it's just the right size. This fits perfectly in the in this part of my flight bag, which is really, really nice. But yeah, when I say that I have a lot of these Lipo bags, I'm not lying. I have them in all different sizes. I really like this size. I also have one that lives over here. This one stays here forever, and it's got like a bench battery in XT60 and XT30 that just live in it. So just, I'm telling you, put these things everywhere. And then if you ever have a battery, when you're at your desk, you put it into this instead of putting it onto the carpet. But yeah, these are some of my favorites. These kind of like fit all over the place. They're just really, really, really nice to have, this particular size. These are both that same size. Here's one from Emax that's kind of short and fat, so I have a lot of short and fat batteries in here. This one... this from Rotor Riot I won last year for the micro competition. This is where I put all of the 6S 1050s. There's another cell checker in here. This is another one from Rotor Riot that I won that's just like random. It's nice to have a couple big ones like this that like you can just dump random shit in. If you have extras of these, there's just no excuses. This is one that's Beta FPV branded, which I put all of the freestyle 6S 1050s. And then this is the other Relay CC one with a bunch of bigger 6S batteries. So like it's kind of cool when you have a bunch because it's like high MAH 6S batteries, 6S 1050s that are beat to hell, good quality 6S 1050s, random 2S, 3S, 4S little batteries like 450, 550 MAH, random, another like random one. This is all of my 4S 850s, right? So like you find the perfect sized one for each battery and it kind of helps you be organized as well. And you know, I've got all of like $30 or $40 tied up in these Lipo safe bags here. And I have enough for just ever. They also sell a small one that can kind of act as double duty. Get out of there. So this little small one here, little tiny Lipo safe bag, this is where I keep all of my tools in my flight bag. If I have a sketchy battery that I have to bring with me, I can take all my tools out of this, put that sketchy battery in here, flip the top closed, right? And we're safe. And it also keeps my tools from bouncing all around in my flight bag. So yes, even little ones are super, super helpful. Or, I mean, you could also use this for like a whole bunch of tiny whoop batteries or something like that. But yeah, I'm telling you, get them in all different sizes. You'll find things to do with them. All right, coming back, hold on. Saw somebody ask what a jib jab is. A jib jab is a thing or a place. Or it's a thing in a place. Either or. These batteries have been plugged into these balance leads long enough. Well, I just through the discharger over there, but yeah. Oh, hey, on the Bardwell board, on the old school Bardwell boards, and just in general, don't leave these batteries plugged in with the balance leads forever. Leave them for an hour or so. The old school Bardwell board, hold on. The old school Bardwell board ran this little LED all the time. Oh no, I guess you could turn it off. This little LED is powered by only cell 1. So if you leave balance leads plugged in overnight, it's going to pull cell 1 on all the batteries down, potentially too far. So A, just never leave batteries plugged into the balance board for more than an hour or two. But B, on the old school Bardwell boards, turn that off, and that'll help. But again, don't leave batteries plugged into them for long periods of time. There's no reason to do that. On the new Bardwell board, that thing is powered here, a separate plug. It's not powered by the rest of the board. So the new school Bardwell board, I can leave these batteries plugged in forever. But don't do it, because it's one big battery right now. And God forbid something weird happens, like one of these main leads shorts out, there's way more capacity connected to this balance board right now. So plug them in, leave them for an hour or so, and then come back and pull them back off. These batteries were really close together. I would have probably only needed to leave these plugged in for like 10 minutes for them to equalize. It's when you pull a bunch of batteries off and you got a whole bunch of them at like 3.8 per cell. You got a couple that are like 3.5, and then you got one that's at like 3.4 or 3.3. That's when this thing is super handy. There it is, yo. The octopus. It's not really an octopus. It's only 6-armed. That balance setup is really, really nice. And now these guys can go back into this, where they are totally safe. And I got to try to figure out what's happening with that balance lead over there. I think that battery's donezo, though. These guys here that are charged and discharging need to go somewhere safe. And that is usually like this guy here. This is just like my random battery bag. Again, this is why it's nice to have extras floating around. This is like a goggle battery here. What's this guy? I hope this isn't charged. All right, let me get caught up on chat. 385, not charged. Good. Okay. When you have a lot of batteries, it's important to get this sorted. And if you've been into FPV for a while, you have more batteries than you think. So, get this sorted out. Be safe. Don't half-ass this. Do it the same way every single time. Bad says, with 04 reviewers... With 04 in reviewer... Oh, God, excuse me. In reviewer's hands, I didn't even realize it. Was spotted but not spotted on Joshua's stream. Obviously, you can't say if they sent you the light version. Sure, I can. They didn't send me anything. DJI doesn't know who I am. But if you wink 4 times, can we know either? No, DJI has no idea who I am. They don't even send Ian stuff, yo. They're a huge company. Joshua is probably one of the only people that they've sent anything to. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, no. DJI has no interest in the little guys, which is, is what it is. Die Noodle says, this Christmas I got new parts for a racing Tiny Whoop. I tried it with my race 5-inch rates, but they're too slow. What do you do about it? Pump them up. Just start turning them up. Rates are a fiercely individual thing. So try to change one thing at a time. Increase like the center stick sensitivity, until it feels right, and then increase the max rotational until it feels right, and then increase the expo until it feels right, and then go back and do it again. With rates, there is bleed over between the center, the max, and the expo. So change each one individually, but then go back, and maybe even go back a third time. And yeah, if it feels like it's too slow, just crank them up a little bit. Koala FPV's in the house. He says, what's the best way to kill a battery when it's old and tired? Lipo killer. Or just stab it. But lipo killer. Keep all that disgusting stuff on the inside of the battery. Don't stab it. Stabbing it lets all the disgustingness get all over the place. Lipo killer, and then take it to a Best Buy or another electronics store that has the bins up in the front for old dead lipos. Thrash FPV says, so a brand new lipo I used for a soldering iron discharged 2 cells to 1.9. It charged up again, but should I scrap the battery since it dropped so low? Yes, you should. You should scrap the battery. I probably wouldn't. I have a tendency to bring those batteries back to life. I'll fly them. If they fly like total hell, I'll either get rid of them at that point, or if there's a use for it, like if like as a soldering iron battery, right? Like you don't care about the performance of the battery. You just want a battery. If you bring it back to life and then it doesn't, here's what you want to be careful of though. Sometimes those 2 cells are dead forever. You bring the battery back to life, you let it sit for a while, those 2 cells slowly discharge. That battery's done. If you bring the battery back to life and it doesn't perform as well, but at least those 2 cells will maintain their voltage and they don't like self-discharge themselves, I'll hold on to that battery for like low stress things, like powering a soldering iron, like whatever. If you've got like a tiny whoop LED gate that you want to power wirelessly, that's a perfect battery for that, right? But you should throw that battery in the goddamn river, because once you over discharge cells below like 3.3, 3.2 volts, below 3 volts, let's say, they're never the same again. Those cells are damaged and they have the potential to implode. So yeah, you should get rid of all batteries that you accidentally discharge any of the individual cells below 3 volts. But I've had a totally fine time jump starting those batteries with the method that I just showed you. Put them on the balance board. What's nice about the balance board, so when you have a battery that one of the cells or 2 of the cells get ultra discharged, when you plug those batteries into your charger, the charger flashes up a warning and refuses to charge them because they don't want you to burn your house down. ISDT toolkit, they don't want you to burn your house down, right? That's your warning of like, I should throw this away. The balance board trick, before Joshua's boards, it was sketchy because you would have like batteries at 3.8 and then a cell that's at, 2.0, and then you'd plug them in and it would just dump from one battery to the other. The Bardwell boards, because of the polyfuses clamp down at 1 amp. And so that gently pushes 1 amp into those cells that are really low. Also keep in mind that it's going to drag down the cells from the other batteries that are hooked up to the balance board. So like what I do is I'll put like, so the new school Bardwell board has 6 ports on it. I'll put 5 batteries on there that are at storage voltage, and then I'll plug the 1 battery with the low cell. And so that way there's 5 batteries sharing that load of putting a little bit of juice from their cell number 4 or 1 or 2 or whatever it is into that battery that you're jump starting. And then once they've equalized a little bit, now you can unplug those other ones and leave that 1 battery plugged into the charger, and the charger will charge it back up. And what you do at that point is you tell it to charge it to storage voltage. You bring it, and so it's the rest of the battery is probably already at storage voltage, but it's going to bring that 1 cell that got over discharged up to 3.8. And now when it's done, all 4 or 5 or 6 or 2 cells are at 3.8, and then you put this battery into a Lipo safe bag and you let it sit for 24 hours or 48 hours. And then you check the balance lead. And if that one cell has maintained its voltage, in my opinion, that battery is okay to use. I'll fly it. I'll charge it all the way up and I'll fly it and see how the performance is. If the performance is shit, I'll retire it to using it in a lower impact setting, right? Powering a monitor, powering an LED gate, that kind of thing. But if you charge this battery up and all the cells are at 3.8 and you put it down and you come back a day later and that one cell has self-discharged, you're wasting your time jump starting it over and over again. It's done. That one cell is ruined. And just get rid of it right away. Don't waste your time jump starting it over and over and over again. Don't take the risk, because that cell is seriously damaged, right? Like, where's that energy going? The energy was there. Where's it going? Right? So yeah, that's what I've been doing for a long time, and it's been okay. Cole Power says, remember, ammo box makes a good Lipo bag, and Lipo bag makes a good ammo box. Not really. Yamasur says, what parallel board do you use for traveling? We went over that. Cole Power says, there's also a plastic latch on the JST side. Either can wear out. I thought it was just like an opening on the JST side. Certain JST plugs have a. No, I thought it's just an opening. I've never noticed it be like a latch. I think it's just an opening. Might be a latch in there. No, it's just an opening. Yeah. Just an opening. There are on balance leads. On balance leads, it's just an opening. On other JST plugs, it is a little latch. The smaller JST plugs that we use for plugging in our ESC to our flight controller, for example, that has a little plastic latch on it. The balanced JSTs do not. They just have a rectangular hole that the latch on the metal pops up into and connects. If you haven't looked at a balance lead with a 5X loop, do it. All these little JST plugs, once you look at them with magnification, they start to make a lot more sense. I didn't understand these things at all until I looked at them with a 5X loop. And then I was like, oh, okay, there's that little latch there, and then the little things are kind of sitting like this, and then the plug looks like this. So, yeah, do that. It'll, you'll see. You'll see. Moss1 says, have a good rest of your weekend, buddy, and everyone as well. Hit that gym and let that stress out. Big Whoop FPV says, related question. I had 2 6S batteries that I left. You're kind of hurt not performing so well batteries. They are great to charge tiny whoops from like tiny whoop batteries from like a Vifly whoopster. I had 2 6S batteries that I left plugged into a HOTA charger after discharging. When I went to recharge days later, the HOTA didn't recognize them. I guess they're dead. Yes. Never, ever, ever leave batteries plugged into chargers or balance boards. Think of it this way, right? Like the chargers and the balance boards, they're meant to like spread the energy out in a way. And so if you leave them plugged in, they're going to keep spreading that energy out. And like if you leave it plugged into a charger, there's things in that charger that could be like running or heating up or things like that, right? There's a draw. There's an electricity draw. I would think that the charger manufacturers would design them to not do that, but it's not super surprising that they do. You only ever want your batteries like this. If there's, you want the leads disconnected for as long as possible. You want to connect the leads as infrequently as you possibly can is one way to think about it. Charged batteries in this little Lipo bag. even when they're discharging, in the little Lipo bag. And now this guy sits over to be surrounded by concrete, basically. I gotta check these. My ISDT charger is the P30. It was on super discount from CiottiFPV a while back. it's been great. ISDT P30. This is the big boy charger that I use. I think I paid like $80 for it. Yeah, here you go. Oh no, that's the Q8 Max. It's not on, it's a little bit of an older charger. Here it is on CiottiFPV. Yeah, this is on mega discount. I'm pretty sure I paid $80 for it 2 Christmases ago. There was a crazy sale on this thing. 50 amp, 8S, 1500 watt. Yeah, it's a big bastard. I don't think ISDT currently makes the best chargers. I think there's another company that makes sort of better chargers, but I mean, whatever. ISD chargers are great. If you have the money for it, one of these big-ass dischargers is actually really nice to have. It just makes the discharging process a lot shorter. And if you've spent $80 on a big-ass discharger, you're probably going to use it every single time. When you come home from flying, discharge your batteries right away. It's the kindest thing that you can do to the batteries. It will save you money. And like, yeah, if you've spent $150 on this big ass thing, you better damn well believe you're gonna come home and get some use out of it. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know. I'm a cheap bastard, and those little Vifly things work totally fine for me. You do you, my friends. Cole Power says, I have the same HDLRC charging board. I've blown 2 of the fuses, but I only need 2 channels out of it because the other 2 parallel boards to charge 8 at a time. Sounds like Cole Powers is daisy chaining parallel boards together. I don't do that. It sketches me out having too many batteries hooked up to parallel boards. As long as you're safe, though, and as long as you have a good, solid order of operations that you do every single time, parallel boards are not sketchy. There's wives' tales that parallel boards are the devil and they'll burn your house down immediately. They're certainly more sketchy than just doing individual batteries one at a time through your charger. There's no question about that. But if you're careful, the parallel boards can save you a lot of time. And they have that ability to kind of like jumpstart batteries, which is kind of cool. Just checking, I got a bunch of 2S XT30 batteries sitting here. I guess these were from the BLV5 that Newbie Drone sent me. Just making sure they're all discharged. And they are. I got to do some toothpicks with these. I'm going to build a toothpick to run these. Yeah, 776, we're good. Jamie Lee FPV says, I got a Mobile 7 with some cob lights on it. Very cool. That I've been flying in the dark. Is there a way to set the cob LEDs to a switch? On a Tiny Whoop, I don't think so. You would have to plug them in. You would have to have a set of pads on the AIO that were specifically switchable, like a buzzer pad. If you've got buzzer pads on the AIO, you might be able to do it through there. I don't particularly know how to do that. I've never done that before. So yeah, you're on your own for how to do it. It should be doable though, right? Like a buzzer, you turn it off and on, and I'll bet you most buzzers are 5 volt. And so, yeah, if you've got buzzer pads, you can probably do it. I don't know how. I'm sure that there are YouTube videos on how to do it, though. I'm sure it won't be super hard to find, like, a Bardwell video or something like that, how to have, switchable LEDs. What might happen on the buzzer pads, though, is that it might pulse the power. You know, it might, like, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. I'm not sure. It's a good question. Uriel says, do you leave the charger while working alone? Absolutely not. I completely forgot about that. When your charger is charging, you do not leave the room. If you leave the room, you better damn well have your charger on concrete. Again, in the thumbnail image for the live stream, if I have batteries hooked up to this charger and they go off, it's all concrete. I put the batteries, I don't hang, I mean, you can't, right? You've got like the main lead hooked up here. So the batteries in the front here, they sit like 1, 2, 3. And then the batteries in the back sit 1, 2, 3. And so there's like a foot between these front batteries and the carpet up here. And they're usually not going to shoot fire that far. In the flight test bat box review video and in Joshua's batteries exploding video, again, they talk about how hard they had to make the charger push the batteries for the batteries to explode. It's not something that happens all the time. If you have batteries on the charger and they've been on the charger for more than an hour, something's going on. It's pretty obvious when it's going to happen. And also, you never want to set the amperage on your charger super high. If you've got it's basically you look at the total MAH and then you take a bunch of zeros off is the easy thing to do. So for example, if I have 6S 10, I have a bunch of 6S 1050 MAH batteries. So 1050, round that down to 1,000. So I plug in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 total milliamps of batteries into this. Take all the zeros off. That's now a 6. If I charge this at 6 amps, that's basically charging at 1S. What I usually do is charge at 2S. So if I have 6,000 mAh worth of batteries plugged into the balance board, I will charge at 12. Take all the zeros off. With smaller batteries, that's not as easy, right? Like if you have a bunch of, they don't really exist, but if you plugged in 6 100 mAh batteries, you would have 600 total. You would take a bunch of zeros off and you would put a decimal point, 0.6. And you would, if you charged at 0.6 of an amp, that would be 1S. If you charged at 1.2 amps, that would be 2S, right? So for really tiny little batteries, it's a little bit more difficult. But yeah, that's what you want to do. For every 1,000 milliamps, it's 1 amp. That's how the math sort of works out. And if you do that, if you charge at 1S, it will usually take about 45 minutes for a set of batteries to charge. And so if you've had batteries charging for over an hour, something weird is happening. Go check it out. Unplug each individual battery, put them on the cell checker, look at each individual cell voltage. You've probably got one battery that has dropped a cell. And what happens is the charger, if the smart chargers, if they can't keep the balance, this is why we use the balance plugs. If they start to see that one cell is not keeping up with the other 5 or 3 or whatever, it will not push as hard on that battery. You'll see that if you have it set to 10 amps, all of a sudden it'll be charging at 1 amp or like sometimes 0.1 amp or 0.2 amps. If it can't keep the balance on all the cells, it will stop pushing really hard. This is where the balance board becomes a problem. You've got 6 batteries plugged in. 1 battery drops a cell. The other 5 batteries are fine. And they're going to be pushing on that one bad cell in that one bad battery. And so for the first like bunch of the charge, it's just going to keep pushing really hard. Eventually, once it comes towards the end, once it comes towards 420, that one cell is going to be dragging the rest of those down. What's actually going to happen is those other batteries are going to start to get overcharged. and that one cell on those other batteries are going to get overcharged a little bit. So they're going to be like 4.21, 4.22, 4.23 volts to try to make up for that one battery. But what's nice is the smart dischargers, they will just take a long time, and you'll notice it. You'll notice that it's taking a way longer time, and it's just sitting at like 0.2 of an amp. On a if you had like an old school charger, a dumb charger, let's call it, it's just gonna push super hard, and then yeah, this is why it's important to have a smart charger. Have a relatively new charger from like the last probably about 10 years, with a screen on it that says like smart charger somewhere on it, that kind of thing. That uses balance leads. This is why we don't just charge batteries through the main leads anymore. We always use the balance leads. Cool. But yeah, do not leave chargers in the room alone with you. And once the batteries are charged, try not to leave the room. I try to always charge my batteries before a gig. I do not like charging a bunch of batteries up and letting them sit overnight. If I have to do that, I will make absolute sure that they are in Lipo bags and they are in front of the fireplace, or put them outside your house on a concrete pad, something like that. When batteries are fully charged, that's when they shoot fireballs. Cole Power says Lipo Killer can be used as a discharger if you unplug it at the right time. Don't do that. Cole Powers also says that wire is super thin on the barrel of the XT60. Max amps must be like less than 1. Yeah, it is a super thin wire. I do charge those. You know, all of the goggle batteries are like 2S, or I have one that's 3S, and I never care about charging them fast. So Kevin Smith says, once again, what's a jib jab? Talked about that. It's a thing in a place. A thing in a place, or a thing or a place. Either or. BMF Spade says, so that board equalizes your batteries. Sorry, just getting here, missed out on some stuff. Yep. Balance boards spread the voltage out, but you can also use them to equalize all of the cells on your batteries. The safest possible thing to do when you pull batteries off of your charger, if you're using a balance board, is to hook a cell checker to them. If there's a battery that comes off with a dead cell on it, when you go to fly it, it'll be very obvious. But total safety is balance cell checker before, as soon as you get home, and as soon as you pull them off the charger. Wyatt says, do you know how much on RCinPower 1203? I think, do you know much about the RCinPower 1203? I wasn't able to find much. I've never run that specific motor, but 1203 is a good ratio of width to height, right? 3, 6, 9, 12. So 4-to-1 ratio of width to height. So that's a motor that will run nice and cool. Typically, that's a motor that's used on like a 3-inch toothpick, or you could do that. That'd be a good motor for like a 2-inch tiny whoop, or like a little lifter. That would be Wyatt is a engineering teacher working on a very cool project. That would probably be a good motor for that project, Wyatt. It's going to be pretty lightweight, and it should have the amount of power that you're looking for. And it's that good 4-to-1 ratio that's going to stay cool and give you good efficiency. NeuroneFPV says, what's up? Any advice to fix a CO3 or FX17 camera and an old Mobile 6.7 canopy? The mount that comes with the canopy is shit. Thanks, mate. I think there's a file on Thingiverse for mounting the CO3 in the Mobile 6 canopy. The FX camera should have the holes in the corner, and you can use the internal mount that comes with that old school Mobile 6 canopy. Afeel says, I conformal coded the HD0 5-in-1 AIO. The core temp goes to 104. VTX reads in the OSD that it's hot. I'm flying outside in the cold. Is that normal? Mine's doing the same thing. I feel my AIO5 is having core temperature warnings. A lot of times those core temperature warnings are the like a sign that the AIO is on its way out. And so, yeah, make sure that your filters aren't, make sure that you have enough filtering, make sure that your PID tune, well, easy button is to take the master multiplier and move it way down. That'll make, it'll fly like shit, but that'll make sure that the problem is not overactive PIDs heating the motors up too much, asking too much from the AIO. So I would do that. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot that you can do, unfortunately. If it ever worked, and now it's doing that, it's probably just hurt, and it's on its way out. I'm super sad that mine's doing that. Uriel says, so balancing on a charger is not okay. It is totally okay, but you have to pay attention, and you have to have a good sort of order of operations. You have to check cell voltages before you put the batteries on. Balance boards can be used safely. They're never as safe as not using them, but they can save you a good amount of time, and they can be somewhat safe. But for total safety, don't use a balance board. RCFPV says, I have a Toolkit RC Q6AC, and I notice from time to time while charging or discharging that the milliohm from the leads disappears for less than a minute and eventually comes back. Any idea why? The chargers use, so here's in reference to that, so that's like the internal resistance of the battery. For the record, I swear to God, every single different charger and every single different charger company has a different way of measuring that internal battery resistance. And so it's all over the place. So if you're trying to compare an ISDT to a toolkit charger, if you're trying to compare a battery on an ISDT charger versus a toolkit charger, the internal resistances are going to be drastically different. Even on the same charger, those internal resistances are all over the goddamn place. I tried to track a bunch of 300 mAh tiny whoop batteries as I flew them to see how the internal resistances got worse and worse, and it was all over the place. I would run them. I would check the internal resistance. It would be 13. I would fly it, recharge it. It would be 12. I would fly it, recharge it. It would be 19. I would fly it, recharge it. It would be 10. The internal resistance that these things report back, it sucks. But if you put a battery on there and it shows one of the cells has a 100 internal resistance and the rest of the cells are at like 14, that's a problem. That's what a dead cell looks like. And so that you want to be careful of. That's an example of where the balance board, you've got multiple batteries plugged into the balance board. You won't see that. It'll pull the internal resistance from all the batteries that are hooked up to it, and you won't notice that one cell is really high. One of the things that I like to do every once in a while is, if my charger is powered up, because it has that readout with the internal resistances, just take my batteries out of the bag, and instead of using a little cell checker, just plug them into the parallel board. That's why those little rainbow things are so nice. It makes it super easy to plug batteries in. So if the charger is on, I'll just plug those in as a cell checker. Unfortunately, in order to get the internal resistance, you then have to plug the main lead in and tell the charger to charge. But that doesn't take that much time. Put it at like a low amp, tell the charger to charge for a second. You're not looking, in order to get the proper internal resistance, you have to charge the battery all the way up. And so you're not going to get the proper internal resistance, and it doesn't matter anyway, because I've done that test, and like I would charge the battery up one time and the internal resistance would be here, and then next time it would be all. So like, I don't care about that. What I care about is really quickly looking to make sure that one cell on that battery does not have an internal resistance that's through the friggin' roof. And so that's a nice thing every once in a while that I'll do, is just hook them up individually real quick when I have the time, when the charger's plugged in, hit charge, leave it for, it takes like 30 seconds to a minute for it to report some internal resistance. It has to send, I guess it has to send energy in through the balance leads, and see how the cell voltage, see how quickly each individual cell voltage increases. I guess that's how that internal resistance works. So that's a little bit of a slower process, but it's a super safe process, because that is a way of looking that a dead cell will be completely obvious if you put just that individual battery on and hit charge for 60 seconds. So Uriel says, so what I think that toolkit charger might be doing is like it's not, maybe it's not monitoring that internal resistance all the time, and so maybe like once every minute or whatever you said, it's you would want to see if that's a repeatable thing. Is it every 3 minutes that it does that, or is it like random? If it does it at random, that could be a problem with, if you're using a parallel board, it could be a problem with the balance lead breaking connection or something like that. Maybe you've got a wire that's breaking. Maybe you've got one of the pins on a JST lead that's starting to back out, or it could be the charger shitting the bed. Toolkit has had a couple of chargers that were like really, really bad. I'm not sure if that's the one. Maybe somebody in chat will remember, but I had a Toolkit RC charger, and I got kind of sketched out by there was one Toolkit charger that was being really bad and wrecking batteries, and that freaked me out. Uriel says, have you ever charged a cell in a 4S? Have you ever changed a cell? No, I don't play around with direct soldering. I've pulled batteries opened, and I've seen what it looks like in there, and I went, nope, not doing it, not playing with that. It's too easy to put too much heat into the cell and have something bad happen. When in doubt, throw the battery out. Preston Roach says, Pavo 20 Pro comes stock, not using dynamic idle, with a motor idle set to 10%. Using dynamic idle set to 55%, motors twitch on arm, everything else is fine. What's causing the twitch? Using dynamic idle set to 55. Well, so the dynamic idle is I'm assuming that you've got the dynamic idle set to 5.5. That's too low. Bump that up to like, so like if you set the dynamic idle to 55, that's actually 5.5. Move it up to 80, or if you want to match the way that thing was set from the factory, you got to move it up to 100. That's your problem. Yeah, right now you've got your dynamic idle set to 5.5%. They just don't put it's weird that they do that. They should put the decimal point in there. But yeah, change your dynamic idle to 100 if you want the same idle as from factory. You might need to do that. That's a 10% motor idle is pretty high. You might need to set it to 100 in order for it to not twitch the motors. But I would try to set it to like 80 first. If it works at 80, you might be okay. Morton Upshot says, using the buzzer pad does make the LED flash. Yeah, I thought it might. Uriel says, do you listen at the batteries when they charge? Sometimes you can hear when it's going wrong. I have been able to hear a battery making a weird like noise. It's when there's a tiny little pinhole in the cell, and the battery is puffing up and it's letting off a little bit of gas. There's also a smell. If you've got a hole in a Lipo cell, the battery will smell sweet. So if you've ever got a battery that you're suspect of, just give it a little sniff test, and if it smells sweet, get rid of it. Do not play those games, my friends. 1C, Cole Power says 1C, not 1S. Thank you. Yeah, 1C, not 1S. I said that wrong in reference to the voltage, the amperage that you charge the battery at. Nick Hayes says, you keep saying charging at 1S, but you mean 1C. Thank you. I know you know, he's just misspeaking. I learned from him. Also, I never go to 2C. I go to 0.5C. So 1000 mAh charge at 0.5 of an amp. Yep. There's this interesting thing that happens to me more and more as I get older, where I will think that I'm saying one thing, but something different will just come out of my mouth. It's immediately obvious for me because I live stream for 10 hours a week and you guys catch me on it. You're probably doing it too. There's just moments where I don't know what it is. You're on a train of thought and just the wrong word comes out of your mouth and you don't even notice it. Yeah. I would like to say like, oh, it's just because I'm getting old, but I bet you we all have done it all the time. But like people understand what we're trying to say anyway, and they just don't correct us. But when there's 100 people watching, and when I'm presenting actual information to you guys, it's important for you to kind of correct me on that. Bad says there's some new prints for the CO3 in the ball sack canopy in the 3D channel on the Discord. I designed one for the Lux too. Dude, very cool of you. CiottiFPV.com has a link, to the Discord. It is... Where the hell is it? There it is. Discord link is right down here. Join us. There's lots of good stuff going on Discord. This is CiottiFPV.com. This is how you support me if you like these live streams and want to see them continue. I'm completely crowdfunded. For 10 cents a day, you can support me and I'll keep doing this. Do that over on Patreon. It helps me out the most. You can also buy yourself something nice on my Etsy store. You can do a one-on-one session with me if you really want to learn a lot fast. I can help you fly better, tune better, build better, and help you plan out your build so that it flies the way that you want it to with parts that don't catch on fire. Teespring has some fun shirts that you can get. PayPal if you want to support me directly without YouTube or Google or somebody taking a percentage. And then look at all these affiliate links, yo. Use affiliate links when you do orders. Change your bookmarks, change your URL bar suggestions. Do one a day. I know it takes a minute to do this. Do one URL bar suggestion for today. Do beta FPV so that in your URL bar, when you type beta FPV, it drives to my affiliate link, which you can just go copy link address. Amazon, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, We Bleed, Beta FPV, FPV Cycle, Hasingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, AliExpress. Those are all the websites I have affiliate links to. Try to use them. If you don't use mine, use somebody else's. Support me. I'll keep doing this. I promise. Why is Lightroom still open? Go away, Lightroom. Uriel says, I'm a mechanic, not much electronics, and I fuck them up. Me too. Afil says, I built it. This is talking about the conformal-coated AIO5. I built it and flew one battery just to make sure it flew right. Didn't notice any overheating. Put the conformal coating, wait for it to dry on. The second battery, it started showing get hot. Could it be the conformal coating? It could be. I don't know how you can remove it. But yeah, I mean, it certainly sounds like... I mean... If you only flew one battery and then you conformal coated it, it could totally be a coincidence. If you'd flown 50 batteries and then you conformal coated it and it started happening, that would be a much better indication. Yeah, conformal coating should not do that. It should radiate heat right through it. And like, I've actually wondered before if a conformal coating or if an epoxy would actually help kind of spread the heat out, right? Most of the heat gets generated from the little FETs. And so if you have like a coating over that FET, on one hand, that's going to prevent airflow over that FET. But I've always kind of wondered if it would allow the heat to spread, instead of the heat being just contained on the top of the FET. I've kind of wondered if it would let the heat expand out a little bit onto the epoxy or the conformal. I have epoxy coated ESCs before and they've been totally fine, to try to make sure that the chips don't fall off the damn things when crashing really hard with 5-inch rigs. And so, yeah, I don't know. On one hand, it's preventing direct airflow on top of the FETs or whatever is getting hot. But on the other hand, it might be spreading the heat out. So I'm not sure. Plenty of people have conformal coated plenty of stuff, but the AIO5 is one of the most advanced, packed PCBs that we've ever seen. So, yeah, that's tough. I don't know. All right, caught up on chat. Look at me go. It is 5:40. Let's fly a couple batteries and we'll shut this down. Any other questions on battery management and safety? Did anybody learn anything? I know I've talked about this before, but every once in a while I have to just do a live stream dedicated to some of this stuff that, you know, I've probably talked about this a dozen times over the years. But sure, you can use Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper's timestamps to find stuff, but if there's a thumbnail with a picture of a balance board and a charger, and somebody's scrolling through it, you know, they can see it and learn a little something. Type I didn't learn. If you learned something, type I didn't learn shit. We're gonna fly. We're gonna fly a few batteries. Fly your 6 batteries today, my friends. I put hashtag 6 batteries in the description, and that means you need to fly your 6. I'm gonna fly at least 4. We'll see. Let's do the newbie drone 3.1. Nick Hayes says, I didn't learn shit, but I learned everything I know from JB and CiottiFPV. Love that. Love it. By the way, I had to hire an arborist to get my Mavic 2 out of a tree from the gig last night. Super annoying. But if you just search for an arborist in your area, there's lots of them. You call them up, you say, hey, I got a drone stuck at the top of a tree. They will climb the tree and bring it down safely for you. They usually climb trees with chainsaws and then cut those trees down. So climbing the tree without a chainsaw, they can pretty easily, not easily, but well, yeah, kind of easily. It'll cost you though. This cost me $200, which is an awful lot of money, but hey, don't crash your shit into the top of a 100-foot tall pine tree is the solution. Newbie drone race, Hummingbird race 3.1. This place is a mess right now because of all these batteries here. All right. This is a full tilt race rig. This is going to be nuts. Tune is still... Oh, God! The tune is still on the edge with a fully charged battery. Oh, my God. This thing has an outrageous power-to-weight ratio. And I'm flying like a buffoon. Oh, my God! All right, hold on. Why am I starting? This is the hardest to fly. This is the hardest tiny whoop to fly that I've got. It's just so light. And the motors make so much power. Crash recovery hooking your boy up. Okay. That was a hard hit, actually. Woo! It's just so, like, that. Everything it does is so quick. My God. Oh, the huge power loop. Huge. Man, I'm just like, I'm not lining up for stuff and I'm kind of forcing it. I also think that the camera has come off a little bit. Sure enough. Look how not level that main beam is. Yeah, so the camera is twisted. I still have not figured out a better camera mounting solution for this thing. Yeah, okay. I gotta change this canopy to something or other. This is ridiculous. Try to fly this thing low. It just feels awkward, man, when the camera is When the camera is not level, see, look how not level that is. Look at the ground. The tiny whoop is sitting flat, but yeah, I can see how off the camera is. And it's the whole mount on this one. It's the entire mount that like shifts. I have the camera like twisted in the mount in order to get it straight right now. So until I crash, if I suck, well, all right. So cool. Got a crash in there right away. So now maybe I suck because the camera is twisted again. But what the hang time from this rig is really something else. What I was gonna say is, until I crash, I just suck. Once I crash, though, then I have the excuse of the camera being twisted again. Oh my god, the hang! So the extra hang time is because it's so light. When these things get ultra light, when you throw them up in the air and you come off the throttle, they will just hang, and it's really, really cool. Oh man, I can't get this battery unplugged. It comes at the sacrifice of throw, though, which is kind of interesting. The one time that I threw it at that dive gap and it didn't make it into the dive tunnel thing. That's a perfect example. When they get ultra light, they don't have that momentum. And you've got to fly them a little bit different. You've got to like push them into stuff like that a little bit harder. So there's that. But I don't know, man. It's these super lightweight rigs are incredibly fun. We're gonna go over to the ultra lightweight Air 65. It has a slightly better camera mount setup. Still not the best, though. And I'm going to run a 260 mAh battery, so this is going to be ultra lightweight. This doesn't have nearly as much power as what we were just flying, though. And so this will be a little different. This is also on a different propeller. This is on the Gemfan 1219S propeller. Since this is a lower... Since this is a lower kV motor, I'm running a more pitchy propeller to try to get the power back from the lower RPM. The hover point is much higher, and it is throwing me off. And this also just has a lot less power. Hold on, I feel like the camera is not level. It is not level. This camera not level shit is really driving me insane. Yeah, it's not level at all. I made it way worse. I think that's about right. The problem is, this is me moving the canopy. Like with one, there's my pinky finger moving the canopy. The canopy is just not, these banana hammock canopies are just, they're super lightweight. I'll say that. Ugh! How do I hit the 2-inch thick part of the gate so much more often than the 2-foot hole in the middle? Ah! That would have been cool. This thing is beat, dude. So this is a prototype Air 65 that Beta FPV sent me early. And I pounded the shit out of this thing. I think the camera is not level again. It is not. Look at the world. The world is slanted. Boy, I'm getting tired of these cameras going sideways. All right, that's back straight again. Let me try cranking down. Nope, it's already tightened as tight as it'll go. Yeah, there was another like half a turn in it. Maybe that'll be better. So yeah, this thing, I can just hear it. These motors are banged up. Ugh. You can also see it. This is before they made some fixes to the production one. I can't fly this anymore. This thing performs like hell. They made a bunch of changes to the VTX. So again, this is a prototype Air 65. The VTX got a lot better in the production one. These motors are direct soldered, so like I'm not gonna change the motors. I'm just gonna keep flying this thing until it catches on fire. We're gonna move over to some rigs with Mobula 6 canopies, so that the cameras are flat. Because otherwise, I'm gonna lose my mind. This is the 32,000 kV Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. And I'm going to put this other 260 mAh battery through it. This will be fun. Look how good this rig looks, man. Look at it. It's got the light blue and purple thing going on. A little pink battery LED in the back from Tiny Whoop. The white ORT Micro V. Die, Logitech! There you go. All right. These little 260 batteries are super fun. They're definitely not ideal. The 300s are definitely the way to go, but it's super fun to shed like 1.5 grams or whatever it is from just plugging in a different battery to check out what that would fly like. You don't get quite as much power. Oh my God, she got a knife. She's got a knife. Oh, I almost hit Teddy. Woo! Oh! that might have went. Oh boy! In between the blades of the fan on that one. That was nutty. Uh-oh. Didn't make it happen on that one! Yeah, so noticeably less power from the 260 mAh battery. But it's so light. If you're ever like wondering about lightening up your rig, this is the best way to do it. Oh shit! Teddy tried to get us. He's like, yo, we do. He straight up jumped at it that time. He went after it, yo. There he goes. There goes my boy. He's like, you do not attack mommy. Oh, I love it. He knocked it out of the air. I think he had it in his mouth. Oh shit, he's getting it. He's pissed. He's had enough. He's over it. He's like, nah, bro, you fucked with me for the last time. Oh, yo, I love this fucking little dog. You little shitbag. Come and get some. Get some, boy. Come on. It's so weird. He just loses interest. I swear to God, he was protecting Maggie. I really think he was. Oh, yo, that was some good Teddy action there. Oh, this battery is dunzo. Oh! Oh, Teddy Spaghetti, you shouldn't have. That was terrific. Woo! Okay, so that's the little 260. I'm going to run that same rig, but with a 300. Watch how much more power it has. Even though it's about to get significantly heavier, it's going to make a bunch more power. Watch this. This is on the old school HQ YOLO props. Yeah, I mean, look at this size of that power loop, right? Much bigger power loop around the room. These are the Tiny Whoop Moon Traveler 0702 32,000s. 32,000 is such a nice middle ground of KV for these 1S 702s. It gives you enough power, but then it gives you great efficiency. Ah, that was just... Oh no. Don't be unrecoverable, please. Oh no. Be cool. Yeah. Oh my god, it went out the side of the gates. That was wild. I think this is in a light... Oh! Delicious! Delicious. I think it's in a light AF frame. I'll check when we're done flying here in a minute. Drop down to the top. Oh, that's a cool move. Can I power loop? Oh boy. I hit the fucker hard. I'm trying to power loop into the Weebleed cube. Oh! Oh! Light AF frame. Tiny Whoop, Happy Model, 0702, 32,000s. HQ YOLO props. Oh, no. Yes. Mobula 6 canopy, Runcam Nano 3 camera. 2G4. Happy Model 2G4 AIO. Oh, God, that was sloppy as hell. I got on the throttle too early for that power loop. And it rocketed up into the ceiling. What you know about that? Oh, no. Come on. You can do this. You can do it. I have faith in you. Yeah. Whoa! Is there a teddy here? No. I thought I heard a teddy snarl. Ooh! Jesus! That's one of the hardest moves in this basement is power looping this desk because the studio lights, the gap above the studio lights is not very big here. No. Oh! I had to make a huge correction on that one. If you line a power loop up properly, and you don't have to worry about roll or yaw, it's still hard. But if you have to put a big correction in on roll and yaw, it's just like total next level. I usually miss those. When I have to make a big correction, I usually end up missing those. Let's keep flying this rig, man. Not having too much power, it is a light AF frame. Not having... like so much power is kind of nice. As much as I love the 40,000 kV motors and the RCinPower 702s, having a less powerful motor with more gives you more throttle resolution. What could it possibly be stuck on? How does this... How is it... What is it stuck on? How is this possible? So I'm only spinning up the motors that are free? What the fuck? What is... You never want to push the motor that's not freed up. The duct was in that. It was hooked. It was hooked on the duct. That's super weird. The thing was like this, and then the duct was like that. So it was sitting like that. That's why I couldn't get it off. Oh, I just flipped it into something. Here we go. Oi! Oh! Ah! So, like, stuff like that, like descending down and, like, having, like, mega throttle control on the lesser powerful rigs, this is much easier to do. The underside of this coffee table is really low. Damn you! Ah! Let's get that run. This is the... Fuck you. This is the trench run. Ready? The trench run is here. That's the trench run. It's hard. It's especially hard to, like, go from doing, like, big full throttle shit and then, like, calm down. And there's just so much shit to hit in the trench run. There's these supports for the chairs. You gotta miss those. There's the little side table thing. The ORT micro V antenna is sticking straight up. And so that catches on, like, everything. Especially when I try to go that low. There we go. There's the trench run. Oh, no! Easy version of the trench run's up here, but... If I wanted easy, I wouldn't have chosen FPV. Like, that's in a box or something. Pretty sure that's, like, in a box and not really recoverable. Hi! Sure was! Alright. Oh my god. The way that these things stop is so satisfying. No! I was too, I was not patient enough. Gotta be ultra patient. Ah! I haven't done the backwards dive in a while. It's hard because you gotta... It's like 3 separate throttle blips. It's like 1, 2, 3. And you gotta do it... You gotta time them perfectly. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. I ran the battery a little bit too far down, but still, that was a good run time. One last battery. Go fly your 6, my friends. CiottiFPV.com to support me. I greatly appreciate it. Somebody join my Patreon. You know you've been thinking about it. Join it. $3. Hey, tomorrow night is a giveaway stream. If you're on the $3 tier, now's a great time to go up to the $5 tier. For $2, you might win $50 or $60 worth of Tiny Whoop stuff. The $5 a month tier will enter you to win Tiny Whoop parts. Do it. Let's go up to almost an identical build, but with 40,000 kV motors for the last battery. Different propellers, though. We're going to Gemfan 1210 biblades. Totally different flight experience. Same frame. Boy. immediately noticeable from the hover point. What is happening right now? Oh, the micro V antenna was stuck on the gate, I think. Much lower hover point, much more power at full throttle. Oh shit! That might not have looked that impressive, but again, there was a huge correction in there. Ah! I got that timing all wrong. I was going for a mega power loop. Nope. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh! I love when it does that and it just smashes face first and then, like, everything's cool. Oh, yeah. Damn it! Can't get that exit quite dialed. It's right next to me. Roll back and grab it, you donkey. Ugh. All right. Ah! You missed some good stuff. You missed some good stuff, my friends. I did a little bit of this. Oh, nope. No, no, no! Yes! I've moved the IKEA cubes closer to the wall back here in hopes that it'll prevent the tiny whoops from falling down back behind there anymore. Oh, the battery's already done. No, it's not. This is just this battery's a little weak. Did a little bit of that. Did a little bit of that. A little bit of that. There we go. You missed a little bit of this. Oh! Hey. And you missed a little bit of this. Hey. Ah! I'm just hammering this battery because it's, like, done anyway. If you have a battery that like gives you these low battery warnings way earlier than other batteries, that battery's internal resistances are just really high. You'll notice it by you fly it down lower than the other batteries, and now look at it bounce back. Look at the voltage bouncing all the way back up. That's a battery that's just tired. Yeah, eventually it needs to be replaced, but I run them pretty... I mean, I'll just keep flying and flying and flying for the most part. Again, mainly just me being a cheap bastard, but still, you know, even with a shit battery, like your shit batteries, you can fly around, like practice low altitude flying and stuff like that. Don't do like big full throttle throws with them. They won't like that because they'll sag so much. But I just keep using them and using them. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Put an FPV, a .com on the end of CiottiFPV, and you can support me, and I will keep hanging out with you, doing fun things every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Support me, and I'll support you. I'll tell you what not to buy, and then you can save some money. And then you can give me a few of those dollars. Cool? Go to the $5 tier, friends. Iric Repboy Toff with a $10 last-second super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I'm going to go teach some people how to couples dance. Love you guys. Bye. See you tomorrow night for some giveaways. I'm not ready. Come on, computer. You can do this. Love you. Bye. See you guys tomorrow.